back to Brian's Beat.
The biggest show in town is Huckleberry Hound for all you guys and gals. The biggest clown in town is Huckleberry Hound with all his cartoon pals. It's Huckleberry fun, it's for everyone. So come on, gather round. Get yourself all set, tune up your TV set for Huckleberry Hound. That oh so merry, Huckleberry, Huckleberry Hound.
Hour 2 of Brian's Beat. Glad to have you with me today. 508-996-0500. As I like to do when I remember to do it, the Brian's Beat quote of the day brought to you by monthlyfeerx.com. If you're spending less than $20 a month for prescription drugs, great. If not, then our monthly fee RX service might be a good option for you. Check for yourself at monthlyfeerx.com. And considering today is the beginning of Pride Month, a prideful person, Melissa Etheridge, brings us our quote of the day. And it is, I've sold my soul for freedom. It's lonely, but it's sweet. I've sold my soul for freedom. It's lonely, but it's sweet. Any plans for Pride Day? Nothing big. I'm going to do what I normally do on Saturday, so nothing big here. Oh, just to remind you, the app chat is open, and I do love it when I receive the app chats. And not bad in Oak Bluffs. He says from Newsweek, notably 48% of independent voters who were polled agreed that Trump was guilty, compared to just 25% who said he was not guilty. Now, here's the deal. Guilty, not guilty. I think people are already swayed one way or the other as far as that's concerned. I'm curious, now that he has been found guilty, and I do recognize that there is an appeals process, and I'm willing to put my water in the alligator feet, put my feet in the water with the alligators, that Donald Trump is not going to go to jail. That stated, if you were going to vote for him, are you still going to vote for Donald Trump now that he's been found guilty? 508-996-0500. That's how you get onto the program today. Hello.
Good morning, Brian.
Good morning, Brian.
A couple of interesting things I'd like your opinion on now that we've gone down this road and history's been made and Dawn's the convicted felon. Two things that are interesting because everything's changed. So, as a convicted felon, if people still want to vote for Trump, do they realize that Trump can't vote for Trump because he's a convicted felon?
Now, is that true? And I ask because he's convicted, but is he behind bars?
It doesn't matter. It says basically the law says if you're a convicted felon, you can't vote in the presidential election.
The law in Florida. The law in Florida.
I don't even know if it's Florida. I think it's everywhere.
I think this states make up voting laws.
All right. Well, I just don't think he's going to be able to vote for himself. But if people want to vote for him, that's fine.
You know what? Yeah, I mean that. Let's put it this way. Let's put him behind bars. All right, and then take it from there. So he can't vote for himself.
Here's the second thing.
Yeah.
So now he gets in as president of the United States. Mm-hmm. This is another fact. You realize that if you go and sign up to go into the military, if you have a felony, you can't be in the military. That's a fact. Now, Donald Trump could win the election and become commander-in-chief as a felon.
That would be true, yeah.
That one. Figure that one out.
Yeah. You know what? Wait, which way do we turn with all of this? I've got enough.
I don't know.
Seriously, I hear everything you just
changed.
brought up. Everything that you brought up, I hear you loud and clear. But I got a problem with Joe Biden being commander in chief. You know?
Oh, so do I. I don't like either one.
Unbelievable.
I'm with like you.
It
I don't
is
like either one of them.
unbelievable.
But I'm just saying, I think people don't realize like what just happened, the potential implications on the future as having a convicted felon, like I say, as commander in chief of the armed forces.
I hear you. I wonder of those that are steadfast on voting for him, and he has a chance of winning. He definitely has a chance of winning if they're even considering those two things that you just brought up.
That's my point. I don't think so. I think things just changed so much with this conviction. And anyway, I'm going to just leave it out there and let people do what they want to do. And I don't want either one of them. So there you go.
Sounds good. I appreciate the call. 508-996-0500 is how you get on to Brian's Beat today. Interesting point. Again, I can't speak for the state of Florida. I just have a feeling that you have to be behind bars in order for somebody to say you can't vote. Because if you're on appeal, then you're who knows? I'm not gonna try to say I know the answer to that question. Maybe somebody does. Hello.
I have a couple of points. First, I am a convicted felon, and I live in Massachusetts, and I have never had a problem voting.
When you were behind bars, were you allowed to vote, or were you behind bars?
You can't vote when you're behind bars.
Right. That's what I know.
But I haven't been in any trouble in about 20 years plus. But I've been voting, no problem, and I'm a convicted felon.
And you, in my book, you deserve to vote.
I agree. Secondly, I believe everything's going to get overturned in an appeal, so it's going to be a moot point eventually.
Might be. I don't know
how it can't be. I don't see how it can't be.
Here's what I do believe. Even if it is overturned on an appeal, that appeal is not going to happen. That overturning won't happen until after the November election.
Right. And my third point is a little bit off subject, but I had my pastor come down from Minnesota with his family. He has 8 kids, and his wife and his mother and father. They came down from Minnesota, and I brought them to the Whaling Museum, and I brought them out for seafood, which they'd never really had good seafood before, and they loved it all, but they could not comprehend why they had never heard of the Whaling Museum in New Bedford. They couldn't believe how awesome it was. We must have been there for 3 hours, and they couldn't comprehend the fact that we don't promote that place.
I think they do, but here's the funny thing about promotion. You have to be, your eyes or your ears have to be where that promotion is taking place in order to better receive it. And
but
then you
most
may,
people
and then
don't
you may,
even know that place exists.
Well, that's probably because they're not watching or listening or reading where the promotion is taking place.
Well, I don't know where the promotions are, but his older kids all have read Moby Dick and knew all about Moby Dick. But
yeah, but okay, so you know about Moby Dick. Does that mean you know about the New Bedford Whaling Museum?
Well, they knew about New Bedford, but they didn't know that it had a whaling museum, and they didn't know. I mean, they would have loved to spend more time here. It was their last day, and they had to get back and pack up. But they were still here till like 7 o'clock.
And where do you live?
New Bedford.
So here's what I would suggest. There's a big promotional push by the city of New Bedford to get the name out and get people to come in and hopefully get people to come and live in the city. I would take that question that you just brought up to the tourism department in the city of New Bedford and say, hey, look, we're here. What are you going to do about that? And you might want to even extend it to the Whaling Museum because they have their own promotional department, and maybe they can help out.
And I only had one complaint about the whole thing is the people that worked there were very unhelpful. We had to find our own way around. Basically, it's 3 floors.
Sure is.
And the elevators are strange, the way they run. And we didn't even realize it. We were on our way out, and when we found out, we didn't even go to the 3rd floor yet.
Was that your first time in the Whaling Museum?
Since I was a kid, when I went with school.
What did you think of that big bag of bones hanging up in the sky?
Well, they always had one. Now they've got several. I mean, that place is awesome. Unbelievable.
All right, man. I appreciate the call. Thank you.
No problem. Have a great day.
You too. 508-996-0500 to get on to Brian's Beat. Hello.
Hi, Brian's Beat.
Hi, Brian. How are you?
I'm hanging in. Nice day, huh?
Looks like it. I can hardly wait to get out and enjoy.
Yeah, yesterday was nice, too.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, about Trump. One thing I just can't stand about him is he just is never wrong.
Now, what would make you think that?
Well, that's what I can't stand about him is he's never wrong, and he'll never admit when he's wrong. He never does anything wrong. Never, never, never. And all I'm listening to on Syndicate is, oh, boo-hoo, Trump, and Trump, oh, this shouldn't be happening, and I'm so sick of it, listening to that crap. You know what I mean? He did wrong. I mean, just admit you did wrong.
Can you imagine, here you are trying to work up an appeal. You've got a sentencing coming up on, I think, July 11th, and you're bad-mouthing the judge before that sentencing. Now, I know a judge is supposed to be a judge, but when you're getting slammed like Donald Trump has been doing since the trial ended, never mind what he did during the trial, it's got to make you wonder, just at some particular point, Donald Trump, be quiet. Just be quiet.
Shut your mouth.
Yeah.
Shut your mouth. He won't even do it on a gag order. But you know what? Another thing is he's such a phony. Now he's owed. Oh, I heard this on Syndicate. They were playing a clip. It doesn't matter what you are, what color you are, what you are. We're all coming together. This is America. It's like, really? Now you're starting that. Before he wasn't on that bandwagon, and he's like copying a lot of things that Biden has done, but it's always crooked Joe Biden. He's always got a, what's that word? Like a little kid, like tit for tat. He's always doing that. I can't stomach it.
Well, you could be stomaching it for another 4 years.
I don't know. I don't think he's going to make it in the end anyway. I really don't.
I think that the verdict the other day certainly has made it more of a dogfight.
I thought it was going to be a hung jury myself, but I thought at least one of them was going to, mess it up. But anyway,
34 counts.
Yeah, but he's innocent. Don't forget, he's innocent. Never does a thing wrong. Either you like him or you don't. It's the bottom line. You either like, you know what? I met somebody, and I should have never started talking about it because, it ended up in an argument. And the person, Wells, and does a pipeline down in Utah. And it was is it that drill baby drill? Yeah, that's why they want Trump. They live in Utah, and I should have never said anything because, oh my God, it was like a big argument. And the person's been having quite a few arguments around here with over Trump.
Well, I thank you for your call. I do appreciate it. I believe, and I could be wrong, wouldn't be the first time or the last, but I believe that we have 3 factions of folks that like Donald Trump. Those that really don't like Joe Biden. There's a group of people that are always going to vote Republican. And then there's the other group that just believes that this whole thing, all of these charges against Donald Trump, and even the impeachment, they're just all pardon the expression, trumped up. And so, bit by bit, and if you look at the amount of money, I think $53 million went into the Republican/Trump coffers following the verdict on Thursday. $53 million. And according to, I guess, the people that are counting the dough, most of that are small donations, people donating for the first time. And I'll take them at face value on that. I believe we will know for sure, come the first Tuesday in November. Hello.
Hey, good morning. How are you?
I'm winging and wanging. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing all right. I'm kind of tired of hearing about this Donald Trump thing and everybody like that. The last woman, and bless her, everybody's, this is a free country. Everybody's obviously free to have their own opinions. But I want to ask, okay, he's guilty of 41 felonies. What is he guilty of? What are the felonies? How many people can actually answer that? And then were those trumped up felonies? Should they be felonies? Or are people just going at this at face value? Oh, he's guilty, he's guilty, he's guilty. I didn't like him anyways. He wore white socks with dark suits.
I can tell you that they are a couple of the charges dealt with campaigning and how monies were taken from one campaign and lied about and used in a different way. Now,
right.
Whether should that be a felony? It possibly can be because of the fact that it was a federal campaign. However, these are state charges.
Yeah. So it's all BS anyways.
No, that's not BS. That's not. Look, you know what? I beg to differ with you on that. And here's why. The 2016 campaign was a close race. And if Trump didn't have, what's his name, Michael Cohen, take that money and do what he did to keep the Stormy Daniels thing hushed down, there may have been people that would have voted otherwise instead of voting for Trump. So he was able to take that, even though he says he didn't. I mean, it came out in court that he did. He was able to use that to his advantage to win an election.
Michael Cohen is a habitual liar. He's actually done.
You know what? He may be. I don't know. I'm not gonna go down that road. But it's testimony that was given. Testimony given in court. All 34 charges. They swore to and said guilty. I'm here, man. I'm just telling you what happened.
Yeah. Well, look at the. And I'm gonna tread lightly here, but there's something that I would call the Chauvin effect on juries, on jurors, is be mindful of what may happen if you choose this way over that way. I think there were terroristic overtones when Chauvin was under the gun, say, oh, well, if you don't find him guilty, these cities are going to burn. People are going to die. So make your choice wisely. And so
they're a different case altogether.
Well, yes, but I'm saying those jurors that were apparently unanimous going against Trump, in his case, maybe they were under the same impression. Maybe they were under the same threat. Say, oh, well, look at what may happen or will happen if you should choose him.
Yeah, I look,
guilty,
maybe I honestly, I didn't hear what the directions were from the judge,
Right, it was all secret.
Well, no wonder I didn't hear it, huh?
Right. And there's a reason that it was secret is because they didn't want it to come out how dirty it was.
So if you are like me and you didn't hear it, how do you know it was dirty? I'm asking.
You always look at the reason why things were held secret, held back. You know, there's always a reason.
I'm not saying, yeah, but it doesn't mean that reason was nefarious.
Well, it leaves it open, doesn't it?
It sure does.
The way that people hate Trump because he wears those white socks with dark suits and he has somebody do his hair for him, it would not surprise me at all if it was so dirty. It's just a filthy business.
All right, fair enough. I'm going to leave you with the question that I asked. Now that he's been found guilty, are you going to still vote for Donald Trump, or has that changed your mind about who you will vote for in 2024 November?
Oh, it's absolutely not going to change my mind who I vote for. I still may write in Rand Paul like I did the last 2 times.
All right, good enough. Going to leave you at that. Just going to go into a break. I do appreciate the call. 508-996-0500. That's how you get onto the program. I see you there. Got to pay a bill. We'll get right back to you. Sure. Yeah, it's called Brian's Beat. Welcome back. 508-996-0500. There was a survey done not too long ago by Democratic pollsters or some kind of Democratic group called Blue. And I'm sorry, I don't really remember the name, but I do remember some of the results. They were polling 18 to 30-year-olds. And some of the things that 18 to 30-year-olds stated, one thing in particular as it deals with what we are talking about today, the presidential election, they don't like either Biden or Trump. And I wonder after the conviction the other day, how many of them are thinking, well, geez, we've got a president who's been convicted? If they're going to vote for him, that's a question I've been asking on the show today. Are you, if you were in the Trump camp, if you were going to vote for Trump that first Tuesday in November, I believe it's November 5th, are you still going to vote for Donald Trump? I think a lot of people, especially that listen to this station, that's probably a yes. I don't know how many people have changed, but the fact of the matter is there are people that have been jumping back and forth, Biden, Trump, Hillary at one particular time. Those are the people that are going to make the difference. 508-996-0500. Thank you. Hello.
Hello, Brian.
Hello, Brian.
Well, you know, you're kind of funny. They're saying that people are jumping back and forth. I don't know of anyone that would vote for Trump that would ever or has ever voted for Hillary or Joe Biden. But however, there are some that have woken up and, realize what's happening to our country and realizing that in November we have a choice, and the choice is really simple. Either you vote for the communist demon rat, Joe the Clown Biden, or you vote for Donald J. Trump, who is going to bring our country back to the civility we once knew.
You know what? First of all, that's absolutely incorrect because in Massachusetts, we're going to have at least 4 people on the ballot and maybe 5. So, I mean, this is what it's come down to. You know, the question is pretty simple. Either you're going to vote for him and sticking with that. You know, now you got communists. Chase Oliver is not a communist. He's a libertarian. Cornel West, Joe Stein. Leave it like that. RFK Jr., you're going to call him a communist too? So let's try to be even keel as best we can. I know it's difficult. I know this is very, very feverish. But there are more than 2 people on the ballot. And that's why Cornel West decided to go independent. But like him or don't like him. I mean, that's what he did. RFK Jr., same thing. He knew he wasn't going to get anywhere running as a Democrat. His family's a long line of Democrats. Running as an independent, didn't want to jump on the Biden bandwagon. Doesn't want to jump on the Trump bandwagon. Libertarians said no to him. So let's think there are more than two people in this race. All right, thank you. I just had to get that out there. Go ahead.
Okay, so who do you think the two candidates are that are going to get the most votes?
I think the candidates that are going to get
more votes than Donald
I
Trump?
think the two candidates that are going to get the most votes are Biden and Trump, if they are still the two candidates that are going to be in the race in November.
Basically what the race is going to come down to. I don't care. Mickey Mouse could run or Donald Duck could run. But the key is the two candidates that are going to get the majority of the votes are Bozo the Clown and Donald Trump. So the key is, if God forbid, if people have got to realize that this is their choice determines the future of our country. Now, what happened with this scam with Donald Trump being convicted of 34 counts, this is all an assault on our liberties, because this is something that could happen to anyone. We all have, leaned on our court system feeling that we were going to get a fair trial, yes, thank you. A fair trial if we had to go to court for whatever. But after seeing this, every single person in this country should be in fear, because it shows you how they can contrive. They can get the jurors who are against you, which is totally illegal. They can get a judge whose daughter is making money off of the person you're going to persecute. And it's like, what is going on here? This should open everyone's eyes to what is going on in this country. We have, Democrats like Joe Biden and Hillary Clinton who have laundered money, received bribes, and kickbacks from organizations, buying their influence, and nothing happens to them. But yet we have Donald Trump, who's found guilty on 34 charges of falsifying business records with the intent to commit or conceal alleged crime. I mean, it's a disgrace.
I don't think it's an alleged crime anymore, but I get, people are passionate about it. I get it. I saw bits and pieces here, and I think he is certainly guilty. I don't know to what extent and how far I would take this out, but was there testimony that was missing? Absolutely. But there was enough damning testimony to begin with. I do appreciate your call. Let us move on. Hello. Brian.
That's you.
I think it is.
We are of the same brain right now.
We're of the same brain?
Yes, we are.
Do we have worms in our brain?
Yes, and we're running for president.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, me and you're the president. I'll be the vice president. That's how we're gonna stop this. We're gonna add more people to the ballot. You and I.
You know what? I certainly agree with that concept. We've got a uniparty out there that is going to try to defeat it at all lengths, whether it's the Republicans or the Democrats. The Republicans are going to call the Democrats the communists and the socialists, and the Democrats going to call the Republicans the fascists. But you know what? Nothing is ever going to get solved.
Never will. So the reason for my call, and I'm glad that I followed the previous caller, is perfect. Entry into what I'm gonna say. So basically, I'm gonna ask you a question and answer it as truthfully as you can. What was the Second Amendment written for?
It was written for people to be able to bear arms in case there was tyranny within our governments.
Correct. So I brought this up to Barry yesterday. If you are out there and you truly believe that the justice system is corrupt and rigged against us, if you truly believe that this has been an illegal presidency for 4 years by a stolen election of the deep state, and you truly believe there are January 6th political prisoners, why aren't we using the Second Amendment? This is tyranny if you actually truly believe it. Or, and I say that with an emphatic statement, or you're using that as an excuse because you didn't like the outcome of a legal election. It's one or the other, because if you're willing to actually allow somebody to illegally occupy the presidency of the United States and lead our military for 4 years, you're not a patriot. You're not a patriot. And I say that in all seriousness, because this is, as you describe it, literal tyranny. You are prosecuting and persecuting a former president that you side with within a rigged justice system. This is what I'm hearing. And nobody is taking up the Second Amendment to defend this country. Or, like I said, you just didn't like the outcome of the election. I look at this as like a Red Dawn moment, right? I watched that movie, and North Korea came in and literally invaded a city on the West Coast. And people took up arms and defended this country. What happens if what people describe is a political Red Dawn moment? They're saying that President Biden was installed either by the deep state domestic enemies or by a foreign power by manipulating our election.
I hear you, man.
That's my point. That's my point.
Look,
I get so aggravated with people like that.
Your point is well taken. I've stated way back, I guess, 2016, when there was no ifs, ands, or buts about Donald Trump being the Republican presidential candidate, that if Donald Trump was really on the up and up, saying exactly what he was going to do, that the power structure in Washington would knock him down. And it seems, between a couple of impeachments, that's what happened. And then an election in 2020, which knocked him out. And because he is still going forward, the other side of the street is still fighting back hard with criminal charges. All right? That's because Donald Trump was being on the up and up. If Donald Trump isn't on the up and up, as I really do believe that he's a part of this whole thing, and this is all contrived to make us believe that there's one side against the other, well, here's where we sit. Thank you much for your call. I do appreciate it. Let us continue. 508-996-0500 to get on to Brian's beat. Hello.
Brian, I know that your screws are loose, because when you told me to put my crack pipe down a couple of years ago, and I know you know who I am because you bumped into me many times in the Stop and Shop. So now, not only are your screws loose, but they're falling out, buddy. Now you're saying that people are passionate about it. Yeah, we're passionate about our country, Brian. This is our country that Biden has given away so easily. And Donald Trump, I'm going to tell you why he should be president. It's for no other reason but this. Foreign leaders fear Donald Trump. We will never have a war when Donald Trump is in office, okay? For that reason only, they fear him. And, yeah, you said there's other people on the ballot, and I'm sure there is. But right now, the mess we're in, nobody else is going to straighten out or even attempt to straighten out the rotten things that Biden has done. We need Biden in office, and there's nobody else right now.
I think what are you going to tell me now? Here's what I'm going to tell you. You just said we need Biden in office. I think you meant we need Trump in office.
Yes, I made a mistake. You got my nerves up, okay?
Well, I didn't get your nerves up. You got your own nerves up.
Well, stop being a ninny, Brian.
A ninny?
Stop being a ninny.
A ninny?
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever been called a ninny before.
You're going to vote for Donald Trump, and don't say you're not.
Oh, I'm not. I am not voting for Donald Trump. I
believe
assure
you are.
Why? I never have before. What
now
makes you think it
who
would?
needs to put? No, you know who needs to put their crack pipe down now, and that's you, not me.
Okay.
I don't do drugs.
Okay. Well, that's
and I'm
good
sure
for you.
we'll come face to face again and Stop and Shop.
I'm
That's
sure we
where
will
I
too.
Find you.
Okay.
But you don't straighten me out when you see me. You don't say crap when you see me. You let me do all the talking, and you say all you say is hi. How are you?
That's right.
Then when I start complaining about you calling me a crap pipe and all that,
How do you get a word in?
well, yeah, I was letting you talk, and you didn't say nothing. Nothing.
When I'm at Stop and Shop, I'm busy.
People out here have to understand that people in foreign countries, they don't respect women, so we can't have a woman president. They do respect Donald Trump. They have fear of him. So my vote will always be for him as long as he runs.
Well,
and I have a feeling he's going to get in.
Well, you know what? He has a good chance. I think it went down a couple of notches after the conviction, but he still has a good chance of getting in.
That's nothing. Half of it's crap. That's all crap, and you know it's crap.
No, you know what?
And
I don't know. I don't think it's crap. I think he's got a lot going against him. And more to the point, never mind how I feel, because as I said, hold on. You know what? Here's what I believe. Hello. I believe what I have been stating, that if Donald Trump really is trying to fix this country, that there are going to be too many Republicans and too many Democrats that are going to stop him cold. And the other way that I kind of believe is that Donald Trump is just doing this because he is a master at promotion.
Who cares?
Well,
Who the hell cares?
you're falling for it.
I don't care if he's sleeping with a million women. I care about putting gas in my car. I pay $1.88
you know what?
a gallon.
Here's what I care about. Thank you. Here's what I care about. I care about somebody who can give us a bold-faced lie and not give a hoot about it. And no matter what you might think, whether you think he's guilty or not guilty, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. This guy has no problems telling a lie to the American people. And he may have done it so much so to win that election that the whole thing dealing with Stormy Daniels. Now, you might not care about that, but it is about votes and it's about money. And after all, Donald Trump claims to be a 12 billionaire. 508-996-0500. People are definitely passionate about it. I get it. And I'm going to come out and on a limb today. If Donald Trump wins and is in the presidency for an additional 4 years, we will be pretty close to asking the same question that a caller earlier on the show asked me. Are you better off in 2028 than you were in 2024? After ABC tells us what they want us to know, Ken Pittman gets to tell you what he wants you to know. I'm Brian in the seat for another 10 minutes or so. Dartmouth, 64 degrees. Wareham, 65. New Bedford, 64. And thanks to SouthCoast Towing, it's the WBSM app in your car and on your phone. Let's hear from you. Hello.
Hey, Brian. Good morning. Did you have your can of spinach this morning?
I need it.
Yeah,
I'm getting chewed out. I don't care. You know what? I don't feel like I'm getting chewed out. I think people really, they're passionate about Donald Trump.
Well, I think more importantly, I think we're really concerned about our nation and where it's headed. But that leads me to my point. Many people are not seeing the forest through the trees. That is, both the Republican and Democratic Party are private corporations, and they have special interest groups that want to keep the status quo the way they're going so they can continue to make multi-millions and multi-billions of dollars. And as long as they control the political process, like you're saying, we're going to get the same results. Both the Republicans and the Democrats have sold our nation down the river for over 50 years and created the deficits and devaluing of a dollar that where we are today. We're in crisis mode, and they want to prevent other people who have the best interests of our nation from competing, even though, Rather, they won't be able to debate because they shut them out because it's a monopoly.
It is.
People just don't see it.
Well, they don't want to see it. They've heard it before. People that listen to this station, they know that the Republicans and the Democrats run the presidential debates, but they don't care because one party says something that they like a little bit better than the other, and folks are willing to just come out and say, "Oh, they're the communists, they're the socialists, they're the fascists," instead of trying to get down to some meaningful issues about getting things resolved. You know, my quote of the day from Melissa Etheridge: "I've sold my soul for freedom. It's lonely, but it's sweet." I hear a lot of people complaining.
I have a quote for you, Brian, from Bertrand Russell. Fascism entertains fools and silences the intelligent. I think we're at that point where, people's political ideology, they threaten to put them in prison to be censored. So this is where we are today, when you have two political parties that are running this country into the ground and not letting someone else or other people who could have the best interests of our nation to turn the ship around, because it's 50 years of selling America down the river, and it's not going to take 1 year. It's not going to be overnight to turn it around.
No, it is not. And, quite frankly, I don't know if Chase Oliver can do it. I know he can't do it alone. I don't know if Jill Stein can do it. I know she can't do it alone. I know Cornel West can't do it alone. And I don't believe that either of those three, even combined, would be the next president.
Let's say if they get into the White House, they would have to go up against the machine.
Absolutely.
And,
well, that's what Donald Trump is going up against. That is what Donald Trump is going up against. He's going up against the machine. Again, if you believe Donald Trump at face value, Donald Trump, who is never, ever wrong, if you believe that guy at face value, then he has gone up against the machine, and it's been a buzzsaw, and he's coming out in bits and pieces.
Well, they're coming after him, and we can see from this circus that's costing the taxpayer multi-millions of dollars, and the charade in the courtroom, and Stormy Daniels and all of that baloney, and Mr. Cohen, Michael Cohen, that you remember Michael Avenatti?
The name?
The defense attorney for Stormy Daniels was interviewed on MSNBC. And he said that, out of his prison cell, he said that Mike Cohen is a habitual liar, can't be trusted, and he even said that this whole thing would be a circus. And he, unsurprisingly, was on the side of Trump.
Hasn't it been?
Well, it has been.
It has been a circus. If we go back to when Trump was still president and the impeachment hearings, that was a circus. The whole thing.
It's going to be a circus if he gets into the White House. It's going to be a media circus too.
Yeah, it's not going to stop anytime soon.
No,
and you know
really
what?
Concerned,
and during that period of time when it's not stopping, the country is going to continue to go to pot.
It is, and I don't see both the Republicans and Democrats turning the ship around. It's just too many problems they've created, and now we have to suffer for it.
I would take it one step further than that, and that would be that they don't want to turn it around because they're making out like bandits.
Oh, you sure? Yeah,
they are making out like bandits. Hey, thanks for the call. I do appreciate it. A couple of minutes before it's time for me to get out and Pittman to get in. Here we are talking about Trump. And the story that I brought up that's local right into the backyard, dealing with Senator Montigny. And I'm not trying to say that Senator Montigny has done anything wrong. But Senator Montigny has been getting nice paychecks, including a $61,000 a year stipend for heading up a couple of committees in, hey, Ken, how you doing? Morning. Heading up a couple of committees on Bacon Hill. And these committees, apparently, according to the Boston Globe, have never met. They haven't had any hearings. They haven't worked on any legislation. According to the Boston Globe, not according to Brian. Oh, hold on. Let me turn you on.
Is there a record of meetings and things like that?
There have been no meetings, according to the Boston Globe.
How long has this been going on?
Since 2023, when the new session began.
I want that job.
Tell me about it. All right. Now, he's not the only one. I'm just telling you about Montigny. There are, if I have it written down here, I think there are 12 committees on Beacon Hill that have not had any meetings, haven't worked on any legislation.
Well,
And
I mean, I don't know.
those chair people get paid extra tax dollars.
If there's an explanation